Hey folks, Zach Hubeck with MBSI WAV. I'm here with Matt Mangriotis of Cambium Networks. Matt, how are you doing this morning, sir?
Nice to see you, Zach.
Good to see you as well. So folks, we're talking about the point-to-multipoint 450v product line from Cambium Networks. Matt, talk to us about this solution and some of the key features you guys are most proud of.
Sure. Well, the 450v, reason for the V is it's the 5th generation of the 450 product line.
Nice.
It is fully interoperable with everything else in the 450 platform. The 450v is distinct and unique in the 450 platform in that it supports both 5 and 6 gigahertz in one product. So both of these devices that you see here, this is the access point, which is a 90-degree sector, and that supports a 90-degree sector up to 238 subscribers, very much like other 450 access points. It's a 4x4 device. It's actually a dual 2x2 device, meaning I can have two separate channels, one in 5, one in 6 gigahertz, both in 6 gigahertz. Wherever I have spectrum available, I can utilize those channels independently and then aggregate them on the other end using the 450v subscriber. So the 450v 4x4 subscriber is what you see here. Yep. We also have a 2x2 variant that's a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller. Okay. The dish is the same size, but the radio itself is very much smaller and easier to deploy on a customer premise. So we have a few options available. And the fact that it covers both 5 and 6 and has that carrier aggregation capability, that's really the differentiator among other 450 devices. I know you talked to Bruce earlier, and he was talking about how migrating from one step to the next, to one generation to the next. With the 450 platform, very much the same thing. Sure. We can migrate and enhance the performance of the sector by simply replacing that access point and then migrating SMs as needed.
All right, love it. Matt, are we always going to see the dish accompanying the subscriber modules, or do you guys have an integrated antenna solution for that?
For the 450v, no, yes. We always have the dish. For 450v, we do have options that are smaller. We have the 450b mid-gain or the 450b retro. Those are still available, only operate in 5 gigahertz, but as far as the V goes, that supports 6 gigahertz, the only options are with the dish. So either the 2x2 or the 4x4. The distinction between those two, there is something a little bit more technical, a little bit more complicated, called component carriers, which we introduced with the V series. The component carriers are not distinct, separate carriers, but they're components within that, and we can energize up to 2x40 with the 2x2. Meaning I can have two distinct 40 megahertz carriers within 140 megahertz of spectrum, either in the 5 gigahertz or the 6 gigahertz band. So I can support up to 80 megahertz of energized spectrum or around 500 to 600 megabits of data with the 2x2. With the 4x4, now I can do a third component carrier, and that can be in a separate carrier space. If you're constrained in 5 gigahertz, which a lot of folks are, you can do a smaller channel in the 5 gigahertz and then do two larger channels in the 6 gigahertz where you perhaps have more available spectrum to do things. So you can do up to 900 megs of data to a single subscriber.
Love it. Now undoubtedly, and you just talked about saturation in the 5 gigahertz market, undoubtedly we've got competition in the 5 gigahertz and 6 gigahertz market. How does Cambium differentiate with the 450v series amongst your peers?
There is obviously competition. It's an unlicensed band, so there's a lot of stuff in the air. In terms of deployment in 5 and 6 gigahertz, having both of them in the same unit provides that flexibility, so I can deploy in either one wherever I have available spectrum. Our integration with the AFC, which is the automated frequency controller, that makes it easy. So I can deploy in 6 gigahertz and find that spectrum wherever it's available and utilize whatever's there.
Very cool. So let's talk about that AFC real quick. Not only are you making it super easy, but what are some of the implications for our Canadian operators? Is there any gotchas or things they need to keep in mind with Industry Canada in regard to that AFC coordination?
Actually, Canada is a little bit more favorable to the consumer because they opened up that 100 megahertz in between what we call Uni 5 and Uni 7. There's a Uni 6 band that's available to Canadian consumers that isn't available in the US. So they have a little bit more spectrum to work with. The only area of concern or gotcha area might be along the border between the US and Canada. There is some cross-border protections that are in there, and the AFC may ratchet down power along that border. But other than that, not really anything to concern most folks about.
Okay, beautiful. Now you've talked a little bit about the evolution of the Cambium portfolio. You know, we've seen the 450M, now we see the 450V. What are some of those differences between the 450V platform and the 450M we've seen before?
Again, everything's interoperable. So if you have a 450M sector out there that's providing multi-user MIMO to multiple subscribers, you can continue to use that if you'd like. You can overlay with the 6 gigahertz capability of the 450V and start to mix and match subscribers as needed. In some cases, it's actually beneficial to the operator to replace the 450 Medusa, the 450M product with the 450V if you're not fully optimized on the multi-user MIMO. If that multi-user MIMO isn't active at least 2x the time, maybe your subscribers aren't spread out quite as much over that 90 degrees. Maybe you have them all concentrated in one area. The 450V might provide additional spectrum bandwidth rather than talking to more than one at once, meaning simultaneous communication isn't really being utilized, but you can add additional spectrum use with the 450V. It may be worth considering replacing that access point with the 450V. Now, if we're talking about 450i access points, in almost every case, it's better to replace with the 450V because you have now access to that 6 gigahertz spectrum. Your 5 gigahertz can remain where it was. It'll remain operating exactly the same as it was. You replace the access point with the V, and now I can talk to 6 gigahertz units as well.
Well, there you have it, folks. Matt Mangriotis with Cambium Networks. You heard it from the man himself. Folks, if you want more information on the point-to-multipoint 450V, go to cambiumnetworks.com, or you can visit mbsiwave.com. Matt, thanks for your time.
You're welcome. Nice to talk to you.